What if I told you that some of your biggest struggles in adulthood aren't actually you? They're not your personality. They're not your lack of discipline. They're not your motivation problem. They might be something deeper, something you didn't choose, something that started when you were a child. For some people, childhood wasn't safe. It wasn't even predictable. It was emotional pressure, constant criticism, or even physical punishment. And here's the part most people don't realize. You don't just remember that kind of childhood. You adapt to it. And those adaptations quietly follow you into adult life. In your relationships, your confidence, your stress levels, your decisions. And the scary part? You might think it's just who you are. But it's not. Today, I'll show you how childhood emotional and physical abuse can shape adult behavior. And more importantly, how people slowly rewire it.
Number 1, why your brain did this and why it's still doing it. Think of your brain as a brilliant high-speed computer. When you're a child, its only job is to keep you alive and minimize pain. It isn't looking for fairness, it's looking for patterns. If you grew up in a chaotic home, your brain became a master of reading the room. It learned things like, if I stay quiet, I don't get yelled at. This turns into being a people pleaser or someone who struggles to speak up at work. If I don't make any mistakes, I won't get punished. This turns into perfectionism, where you work yourself to the bone because you're terrified of a single slip-up. If I hide my feelings, I don't get rejected. This turns into being emotionally numb or finding it hard to get close to anyone. These weren't bad traits, they were survival skills. They worked back then. But now that you're an adult, you're still using a survival tool set for a world that usually doesn't require it. That's why you might feel tense for no reason, or why you're constantly waiting for the other shoe to drop. It's not that you're broken, it's that your internal alarm system is still set to high alert from 20 years ago.
Number 2, why it feels like just me. The sneakiest part about this whole thing is that it feels like just your personality. You might think, I'm just a high-strung person, or I'm just naturally bad at relationships. But that's usually a lie. It's just familiarity. When you do something for years, like apologizing for things that aren't your fault, or assuming someone is mad at you just because they're quiet, it becomes your default setting. It feels natural because it's familiar, not because it's healthy. We confuse our learned survival habits with our true identity, and that makes it really hard to change because we think, well, this is just who I am. But it's not who you are. It's just how you learn to cope.
Number 3, the invisible beliefs that drive your life. Underneath those habits are these deep-seated, quiet beliefs that you probably don't even notice anymore. Things like, I'm not good enough, love is something I have to earn. If people really knew me, they'd leave. These aren't thoughts you choose to have. They're like background software that's always on. Even if you logically know you're a great person, part of you might emotionally feel like you don't deserve good things. That gap between what you know to be true and how you feel is where the real struggle happens. Number 4, how to start hacking the system, the awareness phase. You can't fix a problem you don't realize you have. So the first step isn't trying to change your personality, it's just noticing. Next time you have an over-the-top reaction, maybe you get furious over a small mistake, or you get terrified when someone disagrees with you, pause for a second. Ask yourself, is this reaction actually about what's happening right now, or am I reacting to something from the past? Simply labeling it as, oh, that's my childhood survival program kicking in, creates a little space. That space is everything. It's the difference between being a robot that must react in a certain way and a human who can choose to do something different. Number 5, the time travel trick. One of the biggest issues with childhood trauma is something called emotional time travel. Your brain takes a present-day situation, like a boss giving feedback, and treats it exactly like a parent yelling at you when you were 7. To snap out of it, try to ground yourself in the present. Remind yourself, I am not that child anymore. I am an adult. I have options. I am safe. It sounds simple, but saying it out loud or writing it down helps pull your nervous system back into the current, safer reality. Number 6, small acts of rebellion. You can't just think your way out of this. You have to act your way out. You have to show your brain that the old rules don't apply anymore. Start small. I mean really small. Practice saying no to something you don't actually want to do, even if it feels uncomfortable. Let yourself make a small mistake and notice that the world didn't end. Speak your opinion in a low-stakes conversation. Every time you do something that scares you just a little bit, but turns out to be fine, you're literally rewriting your brain's wiring. You're teaching your nervous system that you're allowed to have needs, boundaries, and preferences.
Number 7, don't panic when it feels weird. Here's the catch. When you start acting differently, you're going to feel weird. You might feel guilty when you set a boundary, or anxious when you weren't performing for others. Don't let that stop you. That feeling isn't a sign that you're doing something wrong. It's actually a sign that you're doing something right. It means you're breaking a pattern. Your brain hates change. It prefers the painful familiar over the unknown healthy. So if it feels uncomfortable, just recognize that you're moving from who you had to be to who you're choosing to be.
Number 8, you are the architect now. At some point, the goal shifts. It's no longer about surviving the day. It's about building a life you actually enjoy. You start realizing that you don't have to be the person who always apologizes. You don't have to be the person who hides their needs. You can be the person who stands up for themselves, who rests without guilt, and who trusts others because you've learned to trust yourself. This isn't a race. It's a slow, steady process of turning away from the old script and writing a new one. Final thoughts. The past doesn't own your future. If you've been carrying the weight of a difficult childhood, I want you to know something. The fact that you're even thinking about this proves you're already changing. You're looking at your patterns rather than being a slave to them. Your past is the starting condition of your life. It's the hand you were dealt, but it's not the end of the story. You don't have to keep playing the same survival games for the rest of your life. Healing isn't about scrubbing away your history or pretending it didn't happen. It's about taking the power back. It's about realizing that while you might have needed those survival skills when you were little, you're the one in charge now. You are not your trauma. You are the person who survived it, and you are the person who gets to decide what happens next. Every time you choose a new way to respond, you are taking a step toward the life you deserve. Start small, stay patient, and keep practicing. You've got this. If you enjoyed this video, leave a comment and tell me, what is the specific area of your life, like relationships, work, or self-talk, where you feel these old patterns show up the most often? Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.